What's going on, guys? Young 46. I've got a lot of rounds to play here. It's Saturday. Actually, technically it's Sunday morning. It's been a long day, so up early and home late. So just kind of kicking off my first round of the day. But I did enter some ready goes. So we have the new list out. Pretty good list. We got Kiowa. What do we got here? So we got Kiowa 500. That was from the previous Ready Go list, and we also have the Kiowa 1K. We also have the Kiowa Championship going on right now in the virtual tour. So we are going to get, I'm pretty Kiowa'd out, to be honest. Been playing it pretty much every day in the 500 credit Ready Go. So I was kind of hoping they would pick a different course. We got the Congo 100 credit. It's 18 holes though, so something I'll probably play once or twice, but it won't be an everyday affair. We got the Bethpage Black Back 9. Probably, of course, something I'll play every day. We got Best of Hardest, only 50 credits, 18 holes. I don't think the ROI is there to play it. Best of Band, as much as I hate it, maybe I'll give it a go this time, just see what the scores are. And we've got Andy's 100 credit, Olympic Club 50. So that's kind of what we're looking at. I'm going to knock out some of those, couple of brackets. So figured I'd do some voice streaming. Some of these might make it on the YouTube channel. Others, as always, you can find them here on Twitch. So let's start with the Congo 18-hole Ready Go. And let's do that. So we've got heavy in tournament. Probably not the best one to be starting our day off on. Let's see what this is. Low in championship. They want to go heavy. Let's go ahead and start out heavy. Just because I do usually play pretty well on Congressional, so let's see if that pans out. One second. Alright. Use our pass here. And we got a headwind here into the first hole. I'm going to put like 3/4 back on it. Now let's say half. Let's say half back. It doesn't look like I have any issues with running through the fairway. If anything, I have to worry about left. So if I want to miss, I want to miss a little late. And we hit a ding. Should be fine. Yep. Alright, so we managed to find the fairway. Obviously part one. This plays a little bit uphill. Let's see, we got this playing 123 or so. I'm going to give it a little bit more. I could give it a little bit more. Just because I'm hitting a little less club, I'm hitting uphill. So the trajectory is going to be a little lower. We have to play a little bit more on the elevation. So about 95.5. Wow, 2 dings to start. That's very not me. Distance was pretty good there. Spot on. So a good start. I think that's something not a lot of people think about when they're hitting into an uphill shot, when they're hitting less than a full swing. Okay. So 225. I like this. I like this pin, but I don't like it into a headwind. We start going into talking about 3-woods and things of that nature. So, how much wind do we need to add with the elevation? And then that kind of becomes an issue here. So, let's see. I think I'm probably 12. Say about 12, somewhere in there. I probably need to hit this 3-wood about 96% or so. 96%. How much wind? Obviously, the last thing we want to do is go over here, especially the bunker. The bunker's dead. Rough's pretty tough, so our bailout's got to be left. It sucks. It kind of takes birdie out of our hands because we're leaving ourselves a pretty tough putt, but it is better than the alternative. So I'm going to play a little safe over here. A little safer. And like I said, we're going to hit this 96% or so. A little bit of lag there. Hopefully it doesn't affect the shot. It might go 97. Yeah, 97. Just a gut feeling here to add more. Ah, the meter went to hell on me there. I shouldn't even have hit it. At least we'll be in the rough. We'll be in the rough, and we got a short flop, so we should be able to get up and down. That lag was an indicator not to hit. I really should not have hit that. It's going to be tough. We're going to have to make probably a 10-12 footer here to save our par. Unless we can get pretty cute. Could probably use the slope, but if we use the slope, it's just going to come here, and it's going to end up down here anyway. So it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. I think I'm just going to flop this straight up. Maybe I'll go a little out to the right. Just a hair. In terms of our landing distance, yeah, we can try to land it here. I don't know how much. If I get caught up in the rough, then bogey is a certainty. So do I really want to risk, making a bogey here when I can just, say it is what it is and hit our flop and hope we get up and down? So I think that's what I'm gonna do. I'm not gonna try to mess with the rough at all. I'm gonna land it just over the fringe here. Landed it pretty good, but still, not a lot we can do there. Unfortunately, it was pretty good though. Well, given the circumstances, I'm pretty pleased with that shot actually. So it gives us a makeable par putt versus, if we got too cute, yeah, we could stick it tighter, but we also run the risk of not being able to get it there. Let's see here. So we got, let's see. Looks like half a grid's probably too much. I think half a grid's going to be too much. Quarter of a grid is going to be too little. So let's meet in between here. That looks pretty good. In terms of our distance, we're going to hit this about 25% or so. Alright, so good par, all things being equal there. When we go right at that pin, you just have to accept par. And it kind of feels, I don't say it feels like a birdie, but it's even though it's a par, it can be a good momentum swing for us here. That's a big up and down in our round right there. Saves bogey, dropping back to even par. So I'm going to miss late here on purpose. Oh god, I didn't mean to miss that late, but I think I had room. I wanted to miss like a tad late, not 2 days late. So that's slightly unfortunate right there. We did end up in 30-40. We are playing to middle pin position, so we do kind of have some room to roll this up. With the tailwind, I don't know. It's gonna be a tough shot for sure. Gosh, 30-40. So it's tough. It's real tough, man. So we've got like 143 to the pin. My 7-iron is gonna go about 145. So 7-iron is gonna be longer. Really, we need to land this probably back here. And that risk, catching this thing and doesn't get up enough. I think if we land it on the front, it's just gonna zoom back. It's not a tough putt, and we do have this ridge line right here. So maybe we get some back if we kill it. But if we go on this top shelf, it's a terrible putt, and we do have a tailwind. So I think we have to kind of kick it off of this first part right here. So we want to take about 14 yards off of this is really what I'm thinking. My 8-iron will go 134. So let's go 8-iron. Eight-iron, hopefully land short and kind of kick up. Landed right where we wanted it to. Just didn't quite get the release, but it's not a bad putt. All things considered, it could be a lot worse. We have an aggressive uphill putt here, not a ton of break. So we're in good shape here. I think we're in pretty good shape. We're seeing different speeds, right? So this one's going pretty slow. So if we were counting, let's say, counting our dots to go a grid here. So 1 1000, 2 1000, 3 1000, 4 1000, 5 1000. So all of these are moving like 5 1000. This one over here is at like 4. And these are obviously slower, and this is probably about a 4. So here, let's do it in front of you. 1 1000, 2 1000, 3 1000, 4 1000, 5 1000, 6 1000. So they're moving considerably slower. The question is, why is that? And some of that has to do with, because this is technically we're looking at a downhill view. So if we're looking from the pin to the ball, it would be downhill. This view is obviously uphill. So downhill, we're getting a look at the right to left. What we're seeing more is the slope over here, more so than anything. So there's a lot of slope on this hill. So we're catching some of that. So I think forward view is probably the more accurate view. Yeah, I feel like that's probably the view we want to base our putt off of. So I think it's probably about I don't know, a quarter of a grid here. Quarter of a grid looks pretty good in that view. So that's looking pretty good. I think our other option, if we don't go with that, and maybe this view is maybe a little more accurate, would be like a half. Huh? Let's see. Alright, got a little distracted there. Alright, so our other option would be a half a grid. So, probably a half a grid would be out here. And that looks good in reverse view. Like if we were hitting this in reverse view, I'd put that all day long. But it doesn't look so good in this view. We can see here that in this view it misses significantly high. So then what do? Right? If you get two different looks, so I'm getting one saying a quarter of a grid, the other one saying a half. So maybe let's go in between. So we'll meet in the middle there, since we're having kind of conflicting views on it. We're gonna hit this like 21%. Hey, look at that. Okay, so that was a good bird. You know, when we look at it as a whole here, what happened, you know, with the hole, didn't quite go to plan, especially off the tee there. Tried to play a little bit of a late miss and ended up really overcooking it there. Alright, so we got 183, probably 20 feet uphill. We got 16 mile an hour wind in our face. So this thing's going to play probably about 204. Got to be careful not to hit this tree. So it's kind of a tight walk, or walking a tightrope here on our approach. Yeah, we've got 204, 203. So I'm going to take just a little bit off of my 4-iron. Yeah, bailed out on the correct side. It's not going to be too punishing though. It's good. Still going to be a tough putt, but not bad. Not bad at all. We got 5 feet. We got a decent amount of break. I'm thinking maybe edge of the cup here. Edge of the cup looks pretty good. So let's give it a rope. And I'm going to hit this close to 6 feet. A little bit of a push on purpose there. Pull. I always get those confused. And that was just more of a feel thing. Just felt like maybe I was aiming a little bit too far out there. This one we're just going to curve it around. Should be pretty good. Maybe I miss a little late. Hopefully just a little. Or I ding it. Either one's okay. Okay. So we put ourselves in good position there.
That's a huge drive.
We got 81 yards. We got a nice tailwind going on here. We get downhill elevation, so we got 75 yards in. Question is, what's it going to do when it hits the green? I think it's going to back up. So we're going to play for a little bit of backup. We're going to sling this thing past the pin. So we want to sling it a little bit past the pin. Not a ton. Maybe like 2 feet or something. Pulled it a little, but that's okay. I've got slope and ridges.
On the dance floor.
Cost me a little bit of distance there, but it worked out. I didn't want to go like too far by. I just really wanted to land it like right in here. So our miss was only a yard and a half or something like that. I think I can line it up just outside the edge here. Hit it a little over 4 feet. Okay, hopefully we get a tailwind on 6 here. No, bad wind. Bad wind.
Oh, you crushed it.
Alright, so we got a headwind. Not much we can do here. I'm just gonna hit we'll go a little less than full backspin. Just want to make sure we don't hit a big push here. Yeah, it's kind of safety pull. Even if it ends up in the rough, it's fine. Yeah, we ended up in the rough, but no big deal. Should be like 30-40 from there. Nothing too major. We're uphill a half. 30-40. We've got about 51 yards in. We'll probably play this 54. Somewhere around that. Maybe even a little less than 54. I think we're still going to get a little bit of hit and just kind of stop. So, we're good. No worries here. Yeah, it's a good shot. It's not bad. Alright, so nice little birdie there. Not much we could do for the eagle, so it is what it is. Tailwind here. Question is, how much is it going to affect it by? I'm thinking it's only going to be like 7 yards tops, right? I've got some ridges I could use here. I can land it over here, and especially with the wind, or if I land it back here, I've got a backboard I could use to bring it back towards the hole. So if I'm going to miss on this shot, I want to make sure I miss late. Just because even if I do miss late, I've still got a really good chance of sticking it pretty tight to the hole here. I'm thinking in terms of our wind, it's going to be somewhere out here. I'm going to play a decent amount of wind here. Club, we're going to hit 6-iron full backspin, right around 98% or so. And we missed towards our side that we knew we could still be able to use the backboard. And there's the backboard. So it worked out. Obviously wasn't what we wanted to do. We wanted to ding it ideally, but I also want to have that backup plan in my head just in case. I'm just going to hit this really firm. So I'm going to hit this a little over 4.5 feet. There was a little bit of break there, but not much. So I didn't want to have to deal with it. So we'll just kind of ram it right through it. We got a good tailwind here. Didn't want to pull that. Probably going to end up in the rough. Not exactly the most, I don't know, not the best driving round I've had so far. This one's fine, it's 40-50. So that's a little unfortunate. We got 49 yards to the hole. So 49 yards to the hole, my 64 will go about 51 with full backspin. So we want to play about half, 3/4 of the wind here. So we're going to play it about right here. And we're going to hit this almost full. I think we're only going to get about 1 to 2 yards of release. So maybe we play this at 96% or so. 95.5, something like that. Should be a pretty good ball here. Should hit, skip a little. It really didn't release too much. Probably could have been a little more aggressive with that for sure, but below the hole isn't a bad spot to be. This is one we're just going to kind of ram in here. I think I'm just going to play it just barely outside the cup. I know it's going to move more than that. You can kind of see it here in the line. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to misting. So I'm going to hit this 7, almost 8 feet and misting slightly. To me, that's a little easier than trying to hit that ding. And it really just depends on how I see the line. Sometimes I see it, and other times it's a little sketchy. So, but that one I just felt like it was the right line. All right, I think we found a fairway here. Unfortunately, we got another headwind. Not that we were going to reach on a tailwind, but it certainly affects our third shot. Difference between hitting a pitching wedge or a 9-iron as opposed to a 56 wedge, so kind of a big difference there. Could put a little bit of topspin on this, kind of utilize the roll. So let's do that. Let's see if we can hit it far enough to get a little bit of kick off the hill here. Went down the right side to get a little more release. Yeah, it worked out well. So we're sitting kind of right in between that range of whether or not we can hit 56 or if we got to hit a wedge. I think we should hit the wedge. So let's go with the wedge here. In terms of our wedge, we got to play it a little over 113, 114, something like that. Well, a little bit of a pull, but that's not bad. I mean, we're not going to have too bad of a putt here no matter where we end up. Yeah, it's not a great approach by any means, but putt's pretty simplistic. So we got 9.3, we're downhill 1, we're going to hit this a little over 6 feet, so closer to 7 than 6. We don't see a whole lot of movement here. I mean, it's really pretty minimal. I don't think we have to give the hole away here at all. So we'll keep it inside the cup here, and we're just going to hit it probably about 24%. So we're going to hit it a little bit firmer than we need to. Should still be okay.
Solid putt.
A little bit of a misting, but wasn't much there. Alright, so 8 under on the front. The only mistake was on 2. But we had a really good up and down, so it felt good. First round of the day, being able to get up and down like that. So that was like I said, sometimes those can catapult you and lead you to some really good rounds, getting that nice up and down. So it seemed to work out pretty well there. Alright, so this one in terms of our wind, so we're downhill. Anytime we're downhill, the ball's obviously going to hang in the air longer, which means we have to think about the wind a little bit more. Usually like to add, maybe 5% to my shot because of that. 5% to the wind. Let me rephrase that. In terms of how far it's going to move, it's probably going to move, 8, 9, maybe even 10. So I'm just trying to think of this thing hanging in the air, and my gut's telling me 13, which is a lot, but it's just kind of what my eyes are seeing. I'll go 12 though. I just picture it hanging in the air, and it just keeps scooting over on me. So yep, we're gonna roll with that number, and we're gonna hit this 3-iron at about 99%. So let's see if my gut feeling was right here on the wind. Let me see, it's just kind of lingering over, lingering. Ooh. Aim wasn't bad. Distance was slightly off, but we got a good uphill look at it here. So pretty flat putt. Do we even get forward view? No, we get no forward view. So let's see, we're gonna kind of eyeball this one here. We don't see a lot of break. The first grid's pretty minimal, closest to the ball, and then it kind of picks up a little bit more. Can't see it breaking any more than that, especially if we hit this kind of firm, which I think we want to do. So we're going to hit it, about 7.8, somewhere around about that. Oh, man. Probably should have tried a little different view. Just didn't really have a good feel for that putt there. Nah, so that was a painful little miss there. Alright, we got the tough 11th up, and we've got a headwind, and we've got the back pin. So as if it wasn't tough enough, it's unlikely we'll even be able to hit a 3-iron in unless we put some kind of topspin on it and bounce it back, which honestly I haven't hit that shot a whole lot. I've seen a lot of guys do it, and they do it with a lot of success, but it's not a shot that I've personally worked on hitting. So we've got about 235. So 235, probably 231. So we're probably looking at 231 in. That will take us to the pin, but we don't want to go to the pin. We want to go about 2 yards short of the pin. So something we need to consider here. Obviously, because we're hitting 3-wood and we're hitting uphill, the wind's not going to grab it as much. So I feel like that's probably a pretty good line there. And we're only going to hit this at about a little over 93%. Oh, come on. Come on, don't go in the water. We got a nasty little kick there, but we're dry. Could have been worse. Wind hit it a little more than I thought. We got a good pitch in. This is definitely a makeable shot here. So we've got a makeable pitch here. I'm going to put 3/4, half backspin on it, just because I do want a little bit of release. And we've got elevation, we've got the slope here, left to right, and we've got wind, so we've got to play for all that fun stuff here. No. Oh, a ding was in. Ding it, we got it. That's a bummer. Alright, so it kind of puts a little bit of a damper on the round. We were 8 under after 9. Now we're sitting on 12 teeth, still at 8 under. So back-to-back pars are no good. Alright, not really a good tailwind for this hole. Gets a little dicey. I think we can carry all this stuff. I don't think we run the risk of going 364. We can definitely carry this dog leg. A little bit of a push. Still don't think we're hitting at 340 though, so we should be okay. Oh, we did hit at 340. 343. 344. Good tailwind still. No elevation. This hole plays about 3 yards longer than it says. We're going to aim a little over 8. 8.5, 9. And we're going to play this like it's about 107. So 107, might get a little bit of release here. Normally I'd play it probably closer to 109, but I got a feeling we're going to get a little release. Nah, just kind of hit and died. And it ended up going long too, so our distance was off. And it worked out anyway. So I'm going to hit this really firm here. Almost close to 5 feet. Didn't mean to misding that one. Actually wanted to ding it. But it worked out. So we got 185 uphill 7. We've got one of those winds where we don't know, is it a headwind? Is it a tailwind? Should we play no wind? But I think I'm going to play it as a headwind. And we're going to play about 17 miles per hour of wind here. We've got a good 5-iron full backspin, but if this thing hits, it's going to spin back. So I would prefer to come in with something less than full backspin. So we're going to hit this a little over 97%. Oh, that was really bad. Really bad. That was one I needed to ding. Should get a little comeback to the hole. Not much, though. Not a ton, but enough, I guess. It's going to be a tricky little right to lefter. So we got 8 feet, downhill 1, and we've got a decent amount of brake here. So we got a decent amount of brake. Start at half a grid. Get a feel for it. Feels like that might not be enough. Yeah, I don't think that's going to be enough. So I'm going to misting this ever so slightly here. So I'm almost going to hit it 6 feet. Slightly under 6 feet, we're going to misting. Okay. So it worked out well. We got a little bit of the kick because of the wind. And we got a headwind here. I'm just going to put a little bit of topspin on this. Kind of control the wind a little bit. Ay, ay, ay. Yikes. Come on, wind.
Good ball.
Thought I found the 40-50 again. So that worked out. We got 17 mile an hour wind, uphill 26. And we're heading to the back pin, so that's good. We do have some backboards we can use, but the wind's blowing the wrong way to use them. So we got to kind of go at this thing. So we're going to go at it. Okay, in terms of our distance, we have got, about 200 or so. So 200, we're going to hit this about 98%. 98%, and hopefully ding it. Yeah. There we go. Looks like it's a little offline. Come back a little bit. A little bit of that backboard. We didn't get a lot of it. We shouldn't have been that far to the right. Change my aim up there. We see a little bit of break here. Definitely one we're going to just kind of hit it through. I'm debating. I'm kind of seeing that misting line here. So I'm seeing the line to misting. But I'm also seeing the ding line. So I think I'm going to ding it. Ended up misting him ever so slightly. On accident. Accident / feel, I don't know. Maybe subconsciously I felt like it wasn't enough. We're going to aim more out to the left than we think. It tends to come back a little further right than what you think it will.
You crushed it.
Alright, ended up well. We got the back pin location into a headwind. These are all good things. This works very well for us because we can be really aggressive with our shot here. We've got about 195 in. 195, we're going to play about 12-13 miles an hour of wind. And we're going to hit this shot right around 97%, maybe a touch more. Touch more than 97. A little bit of a meter lag there. Why I swung. Should still be okay. We get a little skip towards the hole here. Use our ridges a little bit. Okay. Not the ideal shot we had in mind. Okay, so here we see things are moving from right to left. Here, let's see, they're moving from our feet away, from our feet away. So we've got a good idea that it's definitely going to break. I don't think it's going to break as much though. I don't think it's going to break as much as we're seeing right here. So I'm going to keep it inside, just kind of right on the edge of the hole, and I'm going to hit it fairly firm. Okay, that's more just knowing the course and knowing that putt. It just doesn't break as much as it says there. Hey, look at that. We finally got our tailwind on a 5. Question is, how aggressive do I want to get? 335 to carry that, and we're downhill a little bit. So I'm going to carry a lot of it, just not all of it. Good. Big time to hit a ding. Should be really good. Yeah, we're looking at hitting
Hitting
an iron
drive.
Kind of in between though on our distances here, right? So we're uphill, we've got a tailwind, but we're in that in between yardage. So we got like 213 to the pin. Let's see, we got 4 yards. We got 209 to the front edge. This thing slopes hard right to left. So I don't think even if we stick it, we're going to be able to knock it tight. So let's go ahead and hit our 3-iron. That way we got a putt at it instead of trying to force a 4-iron up there. Good ding right there. Let's see if my ridge theory works out here. Yeah, it's just gonna kind of skip up there, but we gotta look at it. I think I have made this putt before. It's really not a bad putt. Looks like it could be pretty dicey, but it's not the worst putt to have actually. So we've got 46 feet. We're downhill 13 inches. We're gonna put this a little over 20 feet. We see a lot of undulations. We see at the very beginning of the putt it goes to our right and then it comes back hard to our left. So we definitely have to play some break, but it's not a ton, I don't think anyway. I don't know, probably 2 grids maybe. Maybe 2 grids worth of break. We'll kind of get a feel for it here. So we're breaking down, then we're going to catch this big ridge and it's going to turn it pretty hard. So halfway through the putt, it's going to really start shaking the putt around a little bit. Let's see, what are we feeling here? I don't even know if it's going to be that much. I don't know if we got to go. Maybe it's only like a grid and a half even. The real question mark is how hard that thing's going to turn. Let's go with that anyway. So we're going to hit this, like I said, a little over, maybe 21 because we do have a bit of a headwind here. So it probably was 2 grids. I'd say 2 grids. Our initial read was pretty spot on there, just simply because I misdinged the putt there. Like I said, not really a bad putt there. Pretty easy 2-putt. Hey, look at that. We got a nice little tailwind on this hole. So now we can go right down everything. We can clear into the second fairway. Shouldn't be a problem. Gonna get a hard kick. Hard kick gonna leave us a short club in, so we're sitting pretty good here.
That's a huge drive.
We're sitting real good on this hole. We're uphill 17 feet. We've got about 67 yards in. Kind of a dicey yardage. Just when we're talking about spin, release, we're uphill. So 67 yards is a tricky one. But it ain't bad. We can make do with that. I'm going to hit this like it's about 70 though. Just because of the spin. Putting a little bit of backspin. We just want to hit and stop. Yeah, pretty acceptable. Not too shabby. Went a little deep, but putt's pretty simple. See a little bit of break there. A little bit of break. And we're going to hit this a little over 4 feet. And misting. Called the misting that time. Wasn't accidental. Alright, so we're 14 heading into 18. We recouped from the pars on 10 and 11. We got a shitty wind here. We had to pay for all the good winds, I guess. I'm misting that, but it'll be fine. Just means we'll be a little further back than we already were going to be. Hopefully I can reach this thing, man. We've got a pretty steep wind here. Elevation 38. It's kind of dicey. I think it's going to play about 15 yards for the wind, maybe. So it's all we got of a 3-wood. I'm not even going to move the aimer. If it goes right, then it goes right. Take a little bit. I'm not going to quite hit full backspin here. Hit the ding. I don't think it's going to be close because of the wind, but I was okay being a little right of the pin. A little bit of release. Not a bad shot. Shoot, you tell me I'm going to be that close, I will take that 10 out of 10. I'd even take that from way down the fairway. So we see a little bit of break here. Really just depends on how hard we want to hit this putt. So I'm thinking we're going to hit it a little over 4 feet, 4.2 or so. Should be pretty good. Alright, and it is 15 under, not bad. We had the mess up on 2, then we had 10 and 11. 10 was definitely a makeable putt. We got to make that. Kind of had that weird view. Maybe I rushed it a little bit. Probably should have looked at another view, just kind of get a difference between the two lines, but I didn't. 11, we hit the ding on the three-way. We just went long. Had the pitch, it was very makeable. 7 yards, just missed the ding, so that's kind of what killed us on that one. 9.3 feet average distance, not too bad. And let's see, in our putting, 16 one putts and 2 two putts. So overall, pretty good round. Alright, so good start to our rounds here. 56. Not sure where that places us. Should be okay. Probably doesn't win it, but should be a top 3 finish, I'd have to assume. And let's see, we've got Bethpage Black. Let's go ahead and dive right into that. That's 100 credit ready to go. So kind of another warm-up round, if you will. Okay. Low winds here. Low winds, which isn't bad. Obviously, we like low winds as long as we're dinging. If we're not dinging, it gets a little hairy. I say that because it's like our missed deviation increases or something in low wind. So when we miss ding, it's a lot of times it's accentuated. All right, so into the hole we've got pretty much play straight up at 182. So we'll play it straight up at 182 anyway. Let's put it that way. That'll be a 5 iron, and we're gonna hit this right around a little over 97%. Pulled it just a hair. Worked out. We lost a little bit of distance from it, but it's okay. We got a nice uphill look at it here. A little bit of a bender. And we're kind of seeing the same line. It's almost the same line that I had on, what was it, Congressional? No. Yeah, it was Congressional here. And when I hit in the rough, I can't think of the hole for some reason. It's 3. I think it was number 3 earlier. And kind of had to go right in between the two lines. So we're seeing a lot more movement here than we are here. All right. Alright, so we're seeing like kind of a mix of lines here. In terms of our speed, we're going to hit this, I don't know, 17, 18% on our 60-foot scale. Make sure we get there. And in terms of our line, we're going to play this, maybe a quarter of a grid. So a quarter of a grid, it's too much here. And it's pretty good here. So pretty good, too much. That's probably the line we want to go with then. And again, we're going to hit this right around 17%, 17, 18%. Oh. Should have played it inside the cup just a little bit with the aimer box. So we should have the edge of the aiming box kind of halfway between the hole and the flag. Not the ideal start we wanted there. I think we've already given away first place in this ready to go. And I'm not a huge fan of this pin. Especially on Champ 13 greens, we've got to be real vigilant of our backspin and how much we put on it here. So, kind of something where I actually prefer to come in a little flatter on my spin, or I could hit the 9 iron, choke down here, and hit it like 95% or something. So I could do that. Both are viable options for sure. I think I'm gonna go with that 9. Kind of like the idea of coming in a little flatter with that 9. Kind of see what I mean. Low winds. Oh, this one we really didn't get the the miss hit wasn't very bad, so it worked out well. Little lower ball flight, I guess, because we were only hitting 95%, so that certainly helped the situation. We're gonna hit this a little over 5.5 feet. Take out some of this brake, and it just generally plays a little slower there for some reason. All right, so we cracked our birdie here. We're gonna carry a little bit of this dog leg here, not a ton, just enough. Not a bad miss. Tell myself in my head, if you're gonna miss thing late. Last thing we want to be is 40-50 rough here hitting into this hole. So we used the room we had to the right there. No big deal. Worked out well. We've got no elevation. We got the front left pin. This usually plays a little deeper. So whatever it says, I usually add a couple yards to it. So I'm going to play 6-iron here. We got about 174. So I'm going to put a little less than full backspin on it here. Hit the ding. Should be a nice little shot right here. In a little bit of release, just a little bit. We do have an uphill look at it here. It's a pretty makeable putt right here. Nothing that should give us too much trouble. That looks like it might be a pretty good line. Although uphill, it's not going to break as much. I could be cutting it close. Here, it looks like it's going to be not enough. Let's see, we're thinking about this break in our head. I know it's either here or it's here. So let's start here and kind of look at both. It looks great from here. I think that's a really good line if we take an aggressive putt at it. Here, not so much. I think it misses. So let's go right here with it, and we're going to hit this, a little over 27%. Maybe 27.5 here just to be safe. Okay, that works. Tailwind. I guess it really don't matter. 2 to 4 doesn't matter. Could be a headwind. It's not going to change anything. I know a lot of people like to shoot that gap in between the bunker and the rough towards the pin. I prefer to lay back. I like the angle better. I like coming at it straight as opposed to that kind of side angle with the slope. It just doesn't look right to me. I don't know why I struggle. So a lot of people try to cut this gap. Yeah, it's a shorter shot. It's like 35, 40 yards. But I'd actually prefer to be back, 50 yards and have a better angle into the pin, personally. Should be fine. So we got a real nice club in here. This is going to work out pretty well for us. Just kind of hit a neutral pitch in here. I don't have to play much for the wind. Maybe a little bit more than that. Just a tad. That should be good. Then we just hit that neutral shot in here. Might end up a little short. And a little more than a little. Surprised it only went 50. Normally that goes a little over 51. So, but the putt's not really bad. It's just definitely one we're gonna ram in here. So we're gonna hit it 8.7. It's a little less, but it's okay. Okay, so good bird. Did what we should there, definitely. Now this one always plays a little long, so it really depends on how we want to play it. If I'm going for the hole out, I gotta land it behind the pin and suck it back. Me personally, anyway. I'm sure there's a million ways you could play it. It's just the way that I see it best. And it usually plays a little more wind than it says, so we're gonna give it a little more wind, and we're gonna hit this with about half back. So we're gonna go half back, and we're gonna hit a little over 96%. Bad miss there. Got the backspin, but we kind of flighted it a little too long. I don't mind the putt from here, though. It's not the worst putt we could have. We're going to hit this close to 6 feet. We see a lot of break here, not so much here. Okay. I think it's probably going to break about a half a grid, at least. The real question is, those are the first 2 grid lines near the ball. How much is it going to move the putt? Because that's really going to determine the outcome of the putt. But I kind of like that line. I think that line's pretty good.
Solid putt.
Alright, worked out well. Alright, this one we just need to find the fairway. We need a little more room.
Oh, you crushed it.
Should be uphill 37, 36 feet usually. 34. And we got a slight wind, but it's going to really not even come into play, so we're going to count that as 0. Wind, I'm not going to play any wind. If I go left, it's okay. What I really want to do is flight this a little longer. So we want to hit this a little past the pin. Normally I'd hit this at like 96%. So I'm going to hit it like 97.5. So we want to flight it past the pin just a little bit. We don't want to go crazy with how far we go by. Just enough to get that slight trickle down. We don't want the full speed of it. So if we go too high on that hill, we get this big drop. Like that was a little too much. I didn't want to quite go that high. I want about a yard too firm. This is just a putt we kind of ram in here. We're getting 2 different lines here. So we see it's going left to right. So from our feet towards the right. Here it's going the other way. So when it's doing that and you get 2 different conflicting views, man, I'm just going to hit this thing a little over 7.5 feet. Just bust it straight. So anytime you get those conflicting views, most of the time you're just going to hit it straight. Because what happens is, what you end up seeing is a lot of the way the green's sloping. So it's just kind of a visual effect you're seeing. Alright, this hole usually plays about 3 yards longer. So we're going to add 3 to the hole. Normally I would play this probably 170-ish. So 170-ish normally. I'm going to play at 173, which for me is going to be almost a full 6 iron. So I'm just going to take a tad less off than full. Hit a big pull. An accident, but it looks like it's going to work out okay. Puts this pin high, which isn't bad. We're just going to play this one just on the edge of the cup here. We're going to hit it about 4.3. Okay. Got the par 3 next. 194 uphill 4 feet, I believe. Yep. And we've got a slight tailwind. It's not going to come into play too much. It's almost one I can just play it kind of straight up. And straight up it's going to play a little over 195. And you use the camera view to aim it here. So 195 for me. Something, you know, it's a good, nice full club right here. So it works out really well. This is a really good distance. Oh, look at that. Look how far left it's going. Barely aimed that thing. Distance was just perfect. I knew it was going to just hit and kind of spin back a little bit. But you can see, and that's just the precision of the club kicking in. Unfortunately, there's a kind of circular radius that the ball can go, and we just ended up on the wrong side of it this time. Thought that might be one we end up putting in the hole. I don't think that's enough break right there. This tends to break a little more than you think from this view. So reverse view is a little more accurate as to how much it's going to break. So I think this is a really good putt to misting right here. Okay, again, a lot of that's course knowledge. If you play that where we had it, you probably move it over towards the pin a little bit in reverse view, thinking I was playing too much break. But you got to know kind of front view is the view to trust on that one. A little bit of a pull should be fine.
That's in the garden spot.
All right, 95 yards. We got a little bit of a tailwind, uphill 22, 25. So we've got 99 yards, 99 problems, and a wedge angle 1. Let's see if we can stick this thing tight. The question is, okay, so one of the things we got to think about, because it's 25 feet uphill, is it going to spin? And a lot of that depends on how hard we're hitting this. 99 yards, you're going to hit this about 97.5%. So I think we're definitely going to have some bite on the ball. So I don't think spin's going to be much of an issue here. I think it's just going to kind of hit and stop. Yeah, worked out well. We got a little bit of a breaking putt here. I definitely think it's breaking more than this. So we're going to move it just a little bit more. And we're going to hit a little over 4.1. Okay. So not bad, not bad. We just played 36 holes. And let's see, 36 holes. Well, we didn't play 36. We played 27 holes. I was like, God, that didn't add up right. So 27 holes, and we were 8 and 15. So we're 23 under in 27 holes. That's not bad. The putt on 10 we had, we just didn't quite play the right line. Played a little too much break there. Other than that, we played pretty solid. 6.3 average pin distance. That's pretty solid. And we just had the 1-2 putt. So not bad. So that's been Congressional. And this is the Bethpage back 9. So I think I'm going to stop the recording here. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. As always, guys, if you have any questions, feel free to post it up. And if you want to watch live streams of my round, be sure to check out my Twitch channel.